Sunday morning. Sin sinister winter's infinity spins into invisibility, bringing zinging springs beginning. A patent, potent, portent of lighter, brighter days. Ruby ready rays are ready to raise sprites, spirits. Drawn dawn dreams, dramas. Solar amber clambers, hovers, wholly hidden neath sublime, supine, briny. Preternatural father time perennially leaps farther forward. His minute minutes multiply lickety-split twixt our diminutive hours. Anthropomorphic clocks tick, tock, talk, till homophonic one doubles two, two, two. My metronomic pendulum's monumental momentum seems mesmeric, mimics magic. Amid mechanistic, metallic movement, he steals in silence, then momentarily stills. His percussive bores at an arc's dark vertex, deadens, defines enervation. Melancholic hands whirl all the woeful while, yet cruelly feature no salutary future for solitary yours truly. Only irony keeps me company as lonesome aloneness clones itself. Thus, emptiness fills this broken, oh so solo soul. Tantamount to blatant, 'tis torture's rejoinder, rejection's reminder, pain's remainder. Despondency dispirits, devastates, debilitates. Metaphorically cuffed by misery's malignancy am I. Even maundering Sunday morn will mourn my lost, last paramour evermore. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna read a part of my really long poem that tells about my year in Paris when everything was really new and confusing and overwhelming. So enjoy the ride. Okay, I'm gonna do first in Finnish and then my English translation. Mitä mä täällä teen? Mä pidän kädestä jotain poikaa. Sen kädet on niin pehmeät. Ja nielen ilmaa ja maata, kun juoksen ylös alas kukkulaa. Ohi huoneiden, joissa väreilee kuuma ilma. Ohi pöytien, joiden päällä lasit hikoilee ja laseissa sitruunat makaavat hiljaa. Sokeri, se varisee pussin pohjalle ja kolikot kolisee ja hukkuvat nukkuu metroissa. Kuljen yötä pitkin kotiin ja kadun kulmissa kyhjöttää likaisia lintuja, joiden kanssa vaihdetaan meidän molempien ei mihinkään kuulumiset. Mitä mä täällä teen? Väkijoukon keskellä mä pidän kädestä jotain poikaa ja sen kädet on niin pehmeät, että niistä tuntee, että se ei ole päivääkään tehnyt surkeita töitä. Se ei ole nuoruuttaan hinkannut työkseen puhtaiksi rikkaiden haarukoita tai parkunut tyynyyn, mutta me ollaan kauneinta, mitä me ollaan nähty, joten pidän siitä kiinni, ettei se katoa. Mutta sen pojan nimikin on vittu Gabriel. Niin kuin miten jonkun nimi voisi olla joku Gabriel? Ennen kaikkea tätä monen vuoden ajan mä uitin kipeän kuumassa vedessä kaikkia mun käsiä ja jostain syystä jaksan edelleenkin aina siitä mainita, mutta nyt Robert Smith laulaa ja Gabriel kuvaa. aina kaikki kuvaa. Ja aina mä valitan siitä, että aina kaikki kuvaa, mutta nyt on väkijoukon keskellä. Ja Robert Smith laulaa. Mitä mä sitten teen? On metro- ja lakkopäivä, joten kaikki on jumissa kodeissaan ja kaduilla on väljää. Poimin silmillä kaupungin paloja, kun se on kerrankin kuhinaa vailla. Mutta ilta on täällä niin nopeasti tummaa. Silloin kaikkialla on varjojen likaa ja hilettä ja kuluneet miehet käristää maissia ja kolikot kolisee ja vaihtaa taskuja. Mä nuolaisen sormea ja kerään sillä sokerin ja se vihloo hampaissa. Lusikat uppoaa kahviin. Tää sokeri vihloaa mun hampaissa ja mun unissa. Mun sormet uppoaa sen pojan hiuksiin, mut unissa. Vaan mun unissa ja unet, ne uppoaa luomiin ja vuotaa tyynylle. Aamulla seinissä humisee ja taas juodaan kahvia ja mä nieleksin vieraiden pöytien viileää savua. Mitä mä täällä teen? Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, next English translation. Okay. What am I doing here? I'm holding hands with this guy, and his hands are so soft that it's strange. And I eat dirt and air as I run up and down the hill, past the rooms where the hot air ripples, past the tables holding tall glasses, sweating, slices of lemon laying all sluggish inside, and the sugar crumbles to the bottom of the brown paper bags, and copper coins rattle, and the drowned ones sleep on the seats of the subway, snoring. I walk home down the night, past the stained birds that crouch in the corners. They don't belong either, and we say, hello, goodbye, and what are we doing here? In the midst of the crowd, I'm holding hands with this guy, and his hands are so soft that I'm sure he's never had to work a shitty job for one day. He didn't waste his youth on scrubbing clean the forks and knives of the rich and crying in his pillow like some of us did. But right now we are the most beautiful thing that we have ever seen. So I hold his hand so it won't disappear, but still. And his name is freaking Gabriel, like some stupid angel or something. Before all of this, for so many years, I held all my hands in sinks filled with water so hot that it hurt and burned. And for some stupid reason, I always still have the stupid need to make that clear. But now Robert Smith is singing and Gabriel's filming. God, everyone's always filming these days. And me, I'm always whining about people always filming. But now the crowd's holding me and Robert Smith is singing. What am I doing here? It's a strike day again. So everyone's stuck in their stupid homes. There's so much room outside. I'm picking up pieces of the streets with my eyes as the buzz has finally ceased for a while, but the dusk out here crawls in so quick. And then there's glitter and drizzle and filth and worn out looking men frying corn. And there's the noise of the coins as they keep changing the pockets they live in. I lick my finger and collect the sugar and it hurts my teeth. Teaspoons sinking in coffee. The sugar is hurting my teeth. And in my dreams, my fingers sink. I trace them in that boy's hair, but in dreams, only in my dreams. And the dreams, they sink in my eyelids. They leak out, staining the pillow in the morning. White noise on the walls. I can hear them humming. We're drinking coffee again, and we're drinking the cigarette smoke and the change in the air. What am I doing here? Thank you so much.
It is like you have bitten to a raw slice of that dun rhizome ginger, pungent, insistent, and exotic. These thoughts I have sitting outside the Irish bar in Guantanamo Bay. I'm thinking about Gustav Mahler as a kid. He follows a local brass band home. the pulse of their march, the vibrato of the brass, dances inside the channels of his ear, like a teenage boy in Rio de Janeiro at his first disco. In Cambridge, England, in discreet corners of the university gardens, you can dig up a fungus the locals call the jelly ear. I eat one in my mind's eye. Then I head in search of the bearded tooth, the weeping tooth crust, the fetid parachute. Poetry sprouts abundant. Its tangled mycelium settles itself into my hidden nooks and crannies, like music. The way Mahler heard cowbells sit at the centre of his symphony, or the twitter of a bird flitter over the woodwinds. A small sparrow dreams of a warm wind over Morocco. I can see Mahler sitting in the chair in his music hut, a yoga frog, meditating motionless, the wind moving gentle in the world outside his door. Thanks very much, bit of mad Carlo poetry for you all there.
My latest collection's first birthday tomorrow. It's a year since it came out and I haven't read much from it lately, so I thought it was about time I did. I thought I'd read the title poem, which is Before We Breathe. There's a few names in here that might seem a bit strange, and it's all about mermaids, and all the names that you hear are names from around the world for mermaids. So Before We Breathe. I am Atagatis, or call me Cwrw. Born among greenweeds, Meerwife, Cyrenia, I drift in amniotic silver, my place of beginning, of birthing and holding among sea people, in hidden caverns, close to the bed of the ocean, where tide pulls me to itself in cyanic currents. I am Aikaya, Siokoi, Nino, Panya of the reef, see my world, light beams sink from far above through luminescence, sea sparkles saturated by moon shimmers on green flakes. I am Mero, Melusine, Mami water, Maneli, feel my world, silky water, cool touches over skin, flows easy over scales. I flick my tail and rise through fathoms, effortless, hydrodynamic. I am Benvare, La Serene, Colilto, de Quito, fish woman. Hear my world. I sing with my sisters, our harp song riffles through waves, among mantra calls of whales, echo music of dolphins. We hold the secrets of the sea, dream before we breathe, before we see light, we gleam like gems in the deep. Thank you.
I'm going to read in Swedish and English, and I've got a noisy cat here. I hope he won't take all my focus. This is a poem that some of you might have heard. It's an old classic of mine from a few years back. It's called Det privata, or The Private. I'll start in Swedish. Jag behöver ta fram det här för det är viktigt för mig. Och jag vet inte hur jag ska förhålla mig till allt jag funderat när tankarna är större än huvudet och trycker mot läpparna. Men när jag ältat så länge så är kedjan så lång att jag är rädd att allt ska komma ut som en clownnäsduk. Som fortsätter och fortsätter och har så många olika ljusa färger som alla kommer att se och som ingen förstår sensmoralen bakom en massa hopknutna näsdukar i olika färger. För de ser bara en clown som skrattar och säger att det är roligt, att det kommer saker ur min mun som egentligen ska ligga i en ficka. Och att även om det låg i en ficka så skulle det vara för många näsdukar för att anses vara en godtagbar mängd näsdukar i förhållande till antalet näsor som gemene clown innehar. Så jag tiger. Knyter näsdukar med tungan, gömmer dem i ärmen, i fickan och när du frågar, har du en näsduk? Så svarar jag tror att jag ska ha en här någonstans och klappa mig för läget på den vänstra och sen den högra fickan. Och jag får aldrig veta att du bara frågade för att du ville få se hur många näsdukar det är normalt för en människa att ha. Thank you, and in English. I need to get this out there because it's important to me and I don't really know how to relate to everything I've thought when the thoughts are bigger than my head and so they press on my lips. But I've ruminated for so long that the chain is so long that I'm afraid it will come out like a clown handkerchief that goes on and has so many bright colors that everyone will see and nobody understands the significance of a bunch of tied together handkerchiefs in a myriad of colors because all they see is a clown and they laugh and they say it's funny because there are things leaving my mouth that should really be stuffed in a pocket and that even if it was stuffed in a pocket it would be too many handkerchiefs to be considered an acceptable amount of handkerchiefs in relation to the number of noses possessed by the common clown. So I remain silent, tying handkerchiefs with my tongue, hiding them up my sleeve in my pocket. And when you ask, do you by any chance have a handkerchief? I answer, yes, I do believe I have one around here somewhere, abashed patting on my left and then my right coat pocket. And I never get to know that the only reason you asked was to see how many handkerchiefs is a normal amount for a person to have. Thank you.
Language issue. Our baskets are made not of intertwined iris leaves, but woven from willow and hazel wands that were grown in the ground, plucked from the mouths of Thomas, Longley, Clark and Yates. Once boat builders used horsehide to stretch across the wooden frames. Now it's calico with separating husks which whisper, oh, oh. In tight-skinned, tarred boats, fishermen paddle along Welsh rivers, through Irish bow-stopping waves, carrying tongues, netting and hooking fish, gazing into their eyes, and in the flick of a scaled tail, hearing voices cry. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr. Tack så mycket.
So this is when I moved to France. A room with a view. A billion shades of grey push and hassle the sky. A blue pine mountain lies across my way. A long bundle of oaks gone higher and high, while a storm of hurling leaves makes everything seem to decay. Can you imagine some drizzly old smoke come twisting right up, and up within the scenes of picture of old French folk and all serene? So peace at last. I wish to be buried in a plain wooden box, in a plain woolen cloth under a plain wooden cross, by the wee murky river that flows as if below the sea, near that crock old house and the large devil's tree, down some old gravel lane with the big iron gates, in the middle of the field where the graves are old and all lie and wait.
"11 months clean and it's still fucking brutal. Every living thought is a return to the rooter. All that's evil, the simplest solution to all of my ills. Drink, drugs, powders, potion, pills. I'm so fucked up and I'm thinking intravenous. Bruised, battered, shattered in a million little pieces. Fuck my life. I just don't need this. God, she sees this. Saves me, Jesus. It'll come in your sweet time, Lord. I've just got to let you in. It's the blind leading the blind, Lord, getting underneath my skin. I can feel you in the silence saying, let forever be. Love and only love can set you free. I am so privileged and proud to be an openly transgendered woman, and 99.9999999% of the people are absolutely amazing. Occasionally, you get the odd dinosaur. Fuck the dinosaurs is what I say for trying to make me feel less than for being trans and or queer and or lesbian gay, for claiming normalcy whilst what you do, spewing hate, ain't ever been normal, never in any way. Yeah, fuck the dinosaurs is what I say. Fuck the, you have to understand I'm just a bloke being a bloke. Fuck your transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic, racist, sexist, rapey, cliched, unfunny joke. Fuck, it's a free country. It is just a joke. You're being too sensitive, you're snowflakey woke. Fuck that I self-harm, curl up, use up, contemplate which method best to permanently give up so that you can just be a bloke being a bloke. You say it like it's a bad thing being woke. You say it like it's a bad thing being lesbian gay. Surely being yourself is just the best thing ever, every single day. Yeah, fuck the dinosaurs is what I say. Fuck the caveman is what I say. You make me feel unsafe with your tribal, animalistic, heteronormative, toxic masculinity display. I'm waiting for you to yell abuse as you drive past, filming and spewing hate. No effective recourse to justice, even though I reported your number plate. The police do fuck all. Cat 5, no immediate threat to life. Yeah, right. It's noted. Leave it with us. Just wait and wait and wait. I just self-harmed, OD'd, too fucking late. Wait for what anyway? Not for you to help me. Look to the skies, it's comets that I see, bright flashes of white light, bursting positive energy. Love is love, come be yourself, diversity. Blazing their trail of love, message succinct, stop to think. Martin Luther King said the time is always right to do what is right. So live and let live, dinosaur. The time is right for you to do what is right, or get left behind, become irrelevant, obsolete, impotent, extinct. Live life in love and color every single day. Yeah, fuck the dinosaurs is what I say. Thank you. I've got a friend and she is so lovely. I swear she's at least 60% an angel. 6 parts angel, 4 parts lady, totally cool, little bit crazy, full of love and life and laughter and giving, effervescent, bubbly, vibrant, fizzing, compassionate, wise, spiritually gifted, curvy, smiley, quite big-titted, sexy as fuck. Yeah, maybe. 6 parts angel, 4 parts lady. I've been Emily Baker. Love you all. Good night.
Vimpelsamlaren. Pojkrummets danska karta. Vävtapeternas textur. Jylland som en nåldyna. Familjen betade av stad efter stad på den jylländska halvön. Esbjerg, Randers, Horsens, Fredricia, Ribe. Dubbelskansar, skanismen skjuten i sank, sommarens citronvand. And in English, the streamer collector, the boys' room, Danish map, texture wallpaper, Jutland as a pincushion, the family covered town after town of a Jutland peninsula. Esbjerg, Randers, Horsen, Fredricia, Ribe. The dugouts are double, Scandinavian scuttle, the summer's lemon drink. Pastoral Mondrian-graffiti på en lantlig elstation. Urban, pastoral graffiti. Mondrian topografisk elstation. Krasatåget skramlar. Något abstrakt med stil syns vid horisonten. Pastoral Mondrian graffiti on a rural power station. Urban pastoral graffiti. Mondrian topographic power station. The Crasa train rattles. Something abstract with style seen on the horizon. Tackar.
Mexico, pina colada on sun-drenched beaches, blue skies, drifting clouds to beautiful fiery sunsets, rolling waves where two oceans meet, lapping up froth beneath my feet, of sunken sand beneath my toes, Cabo's beauty, undercurrents taking my breath away in waves of paradise. Feet imprinted in the sand go hand in hand together. Broken shoulder clipped my wing, defenses down, but I felt your pain. Angels whispered, step aside. They'd walk my footsteps. I felt your sigh. Forgotten lands time cannot erase. The memories of Mexico faded in jaded moments of grief. The t-shirt I brought you, no more bad times, quite poignant now, looking back. Your sombrero hat you wanted, that somehow I knew you may never see, was on loan to me for now in Mexico. Undercurrents, forceful by nature, two souls on separate trips, two shades of blue of troubled hearts as one departs. Your sombrero of somber moments, placed on decks of record label, carrying your name, places you experienced, surrounded by bright flowers and umbrellas of every shade, reflecting your uniqueness on your journey to the other side of life in paradise. My dream showed me you liked it with the smile you wore. Cooling the gang, you got it after all. Your sombrero from Mexico, love knows no end. Thank you.
Words slapped on paper, itching to grab pen. Paper pulls me in, pen still in bag. A4 paper peeps beneath zip, tantalizing those perfect lines. The writer in me devilishly seduced, confession of love for words, paper and pen. Surrender I must, slapping paper and pen onto the table. Sexy, the dancing pen, gliding its strut across paper as ink penetrates with words. Naughty affair with writing, so good and strong this pull. Pent up stuff released, no more to be said. Time for a cold shower with serene whispers, a warm satisfaction embraced with joy. Diolch, thank you.
Hello. This is a poem written to mark the first anniversary of the advent of COVID to Wales, which was probably pretty much the same time as it hit most of Western Europe. The poem is called Dod at ein coed, which I've translated as tree sensibility in English. And it refers to the fact that our government decided to mark the first anniversary by commissioning 3 memorial woodlands to be planted in various spots around Wales. So here is Dod at yn Coed in Welsh first. Beth yw ein dyddiau ond cawod dail, a llynadd yn hydref a phwysol o hir. Heddiw mae heilwen lem yr heb fod eto gwanwyn yn gwynus gerbyd ar bedw yn erbyn awyr boenus o las. A dawn yma, gan sathru cliciad y man friga, ac yna ymlynyddu, gan nofio mewn atgofion. Gallwn ail gyfannu yma lle mae'r ffin yn dena rhwng gwreiddiau'r pridd a briga'r gwynt, rhwng corff ac enaid. A bydd y derw cyn hir yn hwylio'r tymhora, yn teunig o goniant drwy'r eglwysi gwyrdd, yn gogrwn hael i'r cysgodion islaw, a'n galar yn gwisgo lliwiau newydd am fod rhaid. Tree sensibility. What are our lives but showers of leaves? And last year in autumn, grindingly long. Today, sharp sunlight of not quite spring bleaches birch skeletons against the sky painfully blue. And we come here, trampling the triggers of fallen twigs, then we grow still as we breathe with the trees. A leaf will fall, twisting and flaunting. We join its orbits gently, swimming in memories. We can be made whole here in this thin place, between clay-bound roots and wind-bound boughs, between body and soul. And the oaks will soon sail on their seasons, unfurling their glory through churches of green, sieving the sun into the shadows below. And our grief will wear new colours, as it must. Diolch yn fawr, maniatag.
So I will read Greek and English tonight, and I'll start with the English so that you get a little bit of the meaning so that it's easier to listen into the Greek. Poetic habitat. The poets live in their poems. They are born in them. They grow up there. They are raised by the words in the spaces they breathe. They are resting on the punctuation, and even when they leave, they exist in the white of every piece of paper, at the edge of every pencil, and in the infinite possibilities of expression in every language of the world. And the Greek version. Poetic habitat. Ποιητική κατοικία. Μέσα στα ποίηματα ζουν οι ποιητές. Εκεί γεννιούνται, εκεί μεγαλώνουν. Από τις λέξεις τρέφονται. Στα κενά αναπνέουν. Στα σημεία στίξης αναπαύονται. Και ακόμα όταν φεύγουν, υπάρχουν στο λευκό κάθε σελίδας, στην άκρη κάθε μολυβιού και στις άπειρες δυνατότητες έκφρασης κάθε γλώσσας του κόσμου. Thank you very much.
It was never easy to give life, let alone giving life while still maintaining a life yourself, nearly impossible, leaving me so much more to be thankful for. The precious gift of life, not only mine, but yours as well. So thank you for your coexistence, for the tranquility you bring to my thunder. Thank you for all the times you didn't give me answers, but asked me questions that made me wonder. Thank you for always providing food and shelter, but still leaving me with hunger. Hunger for eternal progression, for love in the world. Thank you for teaching me to respect people, no matter if they love a boy or a girl. You know, sometimes I look back, frowning upon the things that I didn't know. I remember being a kid, looking at you and asking if Daddy would ever come back. And first you looked to me, and then you smiled back, And as I said, you never gave a lot of answers, but this day today, I know deep inside my heart that you're the best fatherly role model that I could have ever had. And as I said, it was never easy. It was never going to be easy, raising 2 kids on your own with a neck full of broken bone. But unlike my brother and I, you knew this all along. So despite all odds, you carried us through the desert and you dragged us through the storm to the promised land with the burden of three lives on your shoulders and 1,000 stories in each hand. You carried on, and you still do. So while you stand up and fight for your beliefs while under pressure and outnumbered, you ultimately become a Martin Luther Queen. And I know you're stronger than you look, knowing you came out on top despite fighting the man, your family, and most of all the system. And every moment in your presence a blessing when you're sharing all your wisdom. Divine presence fills the room as a slipstream of bended air flushes from your lips, slowly shaping phrases that paves the way for a better day for everyone lucky enough to be listening. So thank you for teaching me how to be thankful, for teaching me to love the act of giving and not to be demandful, for filling my pockets with love when I've been dealing with a handful of nothingness. I'm standing proud, I'm nothing less than the man you made me. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. It has been amazing these days visiting Copenhagen from Finland. I want to thank all the organizers for this. Also, Dominic, that is an outstanding host, and it's quite a challenge, even that you seems to dominate very well the media that we're using. So it's a pleasure, and hello for all the people in the other end of the wire. So I'm going to read a poem, a part of a book called Se escribe con X, which is X written. It's a book that goes around the character of the X character. So in Spanish, basically, we have 2 words: the word cima with S and the word cima with C. The word cima with C means the top of a high hill, and then the word cima with S means the lowest point of an abyss. So basically, the point of the book is that the cima and cima, the X character, is the point where the lowest and the highest get together. So I use that as an opportunity to talk about many different kinds of things. So I'm going to read in Spanish, and later on the translation into English is going to be read by my a lovely wife that is present here with us. So I hope that you like it, and let's go for it. Se escribe con X. Sentimos una presencia más poderosa, como una pecera para nuestros poemas que son peces. En cuántas ocasiones quisimos asir las estrellas de la manera más simple, sin trueno alguno para enlazar al poema entre ambos astros. Como si se tratase apenas de indicar con la palabra. Pero hacia estos días solo el amor nos vence y los poemas numéricos se derrumban uno a uno. No por ello he dejado de escribir. No por ello he dejado de tomar tus labios en el gesto que hace el lector al pronunciar silenciosamente. Quizá te esté leyendo en esta línea, pues se dice que algo sucede después de pasar por ese punto. Sería terrible nunca pensarme como una respuesta a y atreverme a masticar un discurso para mí solo, mío, demasiado mío, pero una hoja tiene ambas caras. En los pliegues se forman nuevos conceptos y la retórica de las cosas no bastará como el muro sobre el que está dispuesta. Hace tanto que lo sabías, Girondo. Realidades sobrepuestas a realidades, per aspera ad astra, dobleces de la manera más rigurosa, origami de la palabra, hermandad y mímesis de las culturas, pues en el universo una sola madre. Algo tiene que ser diferente. Crecemos entre los clásicos fundacionales e inmediatos del individuo. No de aquellos monumentos anquilosados, indivisibles del yo histórico me refiero, sino de los elementos sensoriales del presente, de la vida ahora. Una tarde, entre las calles de aquella ciudad completamente muerta, hice un anfibio de papel con el documento de un speech protocolario. Darío, al observarme, comentó: ¿sabes? Al llegar a este sitio, Y ahora, al verte moldear la hoja con tanta simpleza, algo me decía que estuvimos juntos en otro tiempo. Y antes de cruzar por estas calles, antes de encontrarme con el empedrado de estos fantasmas, en mi propia casa tuve un sueño donde alguien hacía papiroflexia. Entonces descubrí que ya te había soñado. No lo sé, Darío. Hay personas que no conocemos hasta que no nos las inventamos. Después de ese instante, la narración no pudo ser posible y continuamos con el poema. Cosmos para la muerte, caos para la renovación. Entonces, ¿cómo es que un elemento de 2 dimensiones adquiere ese tercer plano? Aún así, ¿es posible deducir realidad de algo que no vemos? Cada dimensión percibe el mundo en correspondencia a su dimensión consiguiente. La línea solo percibe el punto. Base y altura perciben la línea. La tercera dimensión observa el entorno en 2 dimensiones y solo se entiende a sí misma, repito, por deducción. Como en aquel entonces donde avanzamos por nuestra plana tierra y eventualmente llegamos al mismo sitio. Una línea que se volvió círculo, un círculo que se volvió esfera. Y de ti depende que este poema adquiera profundidad. Y el poeta lector y el poeta escritor nos volveremos orígamos espaciales, viajando al interior del lenguaje, de los agujeros de gusano que se tuercen con las pupilas como una interrogación. Orígamos sobre naves de palabra, en la fusión y de construcción de los símbolos. Todo se nutre e interrelaciona. Cada cosa es como un cómo. Y la ingeniería básica de este poema proviene de la ciencia ficción, X-Wing. Pero más divertido que la categorización es asumir los elementos existentes como piezas de potenciales ensambles nuevos, maravillas tecnológicas, maravillas literarias que van spiraling and spiraling, seculares, cíclicas sin repetirse en el mismo sitio. De alguna manera, en esta etapa del universo, toda forma tiende a la destrucción de la forma, a la desintegración de la búsqueda por el balance constante. Así este texto deconstruye, reunifica, se apropia y fragmenta. Orígamos espaciales, dije, como en aquellas canciones donde las voces empalman hasta crear una pasta viscosa, propiamente irracional, pero cargada en paralelo de información. Vuelvo a ti, Darío, vuelvo a ti como un recurso. Entre los sueños y las realidades hay infinidad de pliegues, desde la palabra que da nombre y se transforma, papiroflexia, cocotología, así es, vuelvo a ti para llegar a otros, para nombrarlos, porque es preciso hacer entrar la poesía entre las ciencias, porque la ciencia y la poesía mismas no son otra cosa, si lo examinas, que un exacto nombrar. Sí, retomando aquella idea bíblica de la creación a través de la palabra, pero, últimamente, esto no es una hoja, es otra cosa. Y esas otras cosas quedarán siempre a tu arbitrio y al arbitrio de la disolución de los bordes del papel, si tú lo deseas. Gracias.
We feel a more powerful presence, like a fishbowl for our poems that are fish. How many times did we want to grab the stars in the simplest of ways, without any thunder at all, to string the poem between the 2 stars? As if it was just about indicating with words. But these days, only love defeats us, and numerical poems shatter one by one. Not for that have I stopped writing. Not for that have I stopped taking your lips. In the gesture the reader makes while silently mouthing. Maybe I'm reading you in this line, for it is said something happens after crossing this point. It would be terrible never to think of me as an answer, and dare to chew on a speech for myself only, mine, too much mine, but a leaf has both faces. In the folds, new concepts are formed, and the rhetoric of things will not suffice as the wall on which it is disposed. You've known about this for so long, Girondo, realities superposed on realities, per aspera ad astra, folding in the most rigorous way, origami of the word, brotherhood and mimesis among cultures, for in the universe, one single mother. Something must be different. We grow up among the foundational and immediate classics of the individual, not from those antiquated monuments, indivisible from the historical self, I mean, but from the sensorial elements of the present, of life now. One afternoon, among the streets of that completely dead city, I made a paper amphibian with a text of a speech on protocol. Darío, upon seeing me, observed, you know, getting to this place and now watching you shaping the piece of paper with such simplicity, something told me we had been together in another time. And before I wandered these streets, before coming across this promenade of ghosts, in my own house, I had a dream in which someone was practicing origami. Then I found out I had already dreamt you. I don't know, Dario. There are people that we do not know until we make them up. After this moment, narrative was no longer possible, and we went on with the poem. Cosmos for death, chaos for renovation. So how is it that an element of 2 dimensions acquires the third plane? Even so, it is possible to deduce reality from something we do not see. Each dimension perceives the world in relation to its consequent dimension. The line perceives the dot, base and height perceive the line. The third dimension observes its surroundings and 2 dimensions and only understands itself. I repeat, by deduction. Like that time we moved across our flat earth and eventually got to the same place. A line became circle, a circle became sphere, and this poem needs you to acquire its depth. The reader poet and the writer poet, together we become spatial origami. Traveling in the interior of language through wormholes that twist in pupils like an interrogation. Origami over word ships in the fusion and deconstruction of symbols. Everything nurtures and interrelates with itself. Everything is like alike, and the basic engineering of this poem comes from sci-fi, X-Wing, but more fun than categorizing is accepting the existing elements as pieces of potential new ensembles. Technological marvels, literally marvels, but go spiraling and spiraling, secular, cyclical, without repeating themselves in the same spot. In a way, at this stage of the universe, all from tends towards the destruction of form, towards disintegration in the search for constant balance. So this text deconstructs, reunites, appropriates, and fragments itself. Spatial origami, I said, like in those songs where the voices overlap until they are a thick paste. Strictly speaking, irrational, but loaded concurrently with information. I come back to you, Dario. I come back to you as a resource. Between dreams and reality, there is an infinity of faults, from the word that names and transforms itself. Origami, papyroflexia, cocotology. That's it. I come back to you to get to others, to name them, because poetry ought to be counted among the sciences. Because science and poetry are nothing other, if we examine it, than a precise naming. Yes, taking up again that biblical idea of creation through the word, that ultimately this is not a piece of paper, it is another thing, and those other things will always be at your discretion and the discretion of the dissolution of the edges of the piece of paper, if you wish it.
So I asked the question, what is home? What is Hiraeth? Is it the bricks and mortar that protect me from the elements? Is it the crackling from an open fire? Is it the company of loved ones dunking chocolate hobnobs in their brew? Is it the sound of the kettle and chattering voices? Is it the BBC video printer and the scroll of football results on a lazy Saturday afternoon? Is it the surprise knock on the door when a friend visits to say, we're just passing? Is it the sound of a postcard being squeezed through the letterbox? Is it a neighbour's invitation to share a meal with them? Is it the sweet scent of grass and the first cut of spring? Is it the joyful sound of children's laughter echoing down the street? Is it the duvet that shields me from the outside world? Is it the smell of a neighbour's curry filling my nostrils? Is it the warmth of a shower that helps to rejuvenate me? Is it the familiar hum of appliances and devices that allude to my Western decadence? Is it the "you might like this" prompt from Netflix? Is it the cozy splendor of my second-hand couch? Is it the arrangement of photographs, books, ornaments, and knickknacks? Is it the sound of running water that helps keep the show on the road? Is it the flickering of LEDs that place me in the information age? Is it the ticking clock that reminds me that time waits for no man? Is it the chattering bird song that draws me back to nature? Is it the meanderings of moggies who've adopted me? Is it the mug of tea, the notepads and pens that rest on my coffee table? Or is it just my skin and bones that carve out my existence? Is it my mind which creates and recreates my sense of place? Is it the cells in my body which continually renew themselves? Is it the clothing that protects me from the cold? Is it the shoes that transport me to places exotic and essential? Is it my soul which confounds science but fires my imagination? Is it the collection of mental, digital, and physical memories? Is it the entire field of my genetic, cultural, and spiritual inheritance? Is it the sum of all my relationships, past and present? Is it the relationship I have with myself? Is it all the parts of me, the integrated, the messy? Is it my relationship with that cosmic void filled by God and the infinite continuum of space-time? Is it the contribution I make to family, friends, and community? I think it's all these things, and this is home, Hiraeth. Thank you.
It's called Dragonflies. Dragonflies are born in water, bolts of light flecked under a waxing moon. They flame above, below, a solar festival, darting past each other like astrological bodies, no longer cocooned, above, below. They pirouette through the expanse of vast space, equally illuminated by the fierce white fire of stars and the deepest ash-black dark. The sunlit branches of their delicate wings awakening, fragile veins of new leaves, they rise into the air, above the cold crust of the earth, but below the ash-white of bright clouds. Root and branch, water and air, heart and mind, they spring into life. There we go. It's just about the spring. Thank you, everyone.
So it came to this. One day called another day for a liar and a cheat. The weather was making demands. The wind kept on talking. Trees nodded in silence. There was no reason to go beyond expectation. Was it not for the curiosity, the short-lived geist, lurking in the machine, laughing and crying? One night I met a stranger talking to himself. It was cold and dreary. All bars were closed. He spoke of war with contempt, flaying his arms like he was fending off flies. He was crying. I never saw him again, but the image of him haunts me even today as I return to the same street. There's a rumor about a woman that can turn hard men into soft linen. I saw what she can do in a small village. The children run with dogs, where it's always dusty. The midday sun had just started to fall or tilt when men offered me tea and a place in the shadow. There were arrows planted in the dry soil like dragon's teeth.
I'm reading this poem because it reminds me of me when I was a child. So everything I read about it, every line almost tells me, that's me. I did this, I did that. And it really resonates with me. So I wanted to read this. I think, yeah, I'll go ahead and read it. It's called The Tawi and I. The Tawi feeds the earth, spitting and spurting from mounting defects, clefts, rising and falling between Glan y Ferry and Llan Steffan, slaking the thirst of farmland, Llyn Brianne to Llandailo, filling wen to Llan y Bri, grinding corn to flour, 1950. 100 years later, a boy still half a year from manhood at a corn mill, at the white mill, assembling timber to move from one field to a field. Above the swell of the Gwilly, a young man trading the valley flow through 5 farms and a lifetime, building bridges to ensure connection when the flood comes. Kicking gin traps behind a cardigan cast iron water wheel, chasing rats with ferrets, swimming and fishing in the Tawi, family like salmon moving east, fighting upstream to Llandailo to teach and spawn, travelling to Lichfield, making money, selling Carnarvon slate, never had a row with anybody and never understood how a man could be cruel to cattle, how a man could be cruel to women. Thank you.
Being a mother is the same as being a peat bog. Here's why. 1, overall, only 3% of the world's landmass is covered in peatland, but it stores about twice as much carbon as all of Earth's forests. In my bag, I carry my purse, wet wipes, nappies, spare change of children's clothes, last week's snacks that I forgot to remove at the bottom, this week's snacks in the pocket at the side, a dragon, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a lolly I am yet to find stuck in my hairbrush. Number 2. At Cwrs Caron, sphagnum moss is found throughout the bog. When it dies and rots, it contributes to the next layer of peat, thus creating new generations. It can absorb 8 times its own weight in water. Last week, following an incident involving an ice cream and the floor, I held my 3-year-old as she wailed. Number 3, local monks from Strata Florida Abbey excavated large pockets of peat to provide energy sources. Now these gaps are filled with deep, dark water that ensures the surrounding peat does not dry out and acts as a wildlife habitat. Given the choice, I would fill my kitchen with Merlot or Pinot Noir and tread water. 4, at the end of the boardwalk, there is a bird hide, which is ironic because it has floor-to-ceiling windows. Our bathroom door doesn't have a lock. Sometimes I fail to control my facial expressions. A morning can be filled with light, yet in the afternoon I cannot breathe. The geese imitate my kids at snack time. 5, the surrounding area used to be covered in ancient forest, oak, elm, hazel, ash, lime, and then people began to settle, create clearings, and farm intensively, leading to a massive decline in trees. I used to wear dangly earrings to work. Sometimes I would pair them with a matching necklace. Sometimes my baby would grab the jewelry and yank up my lobe at a painful angle, and now I can't find the backs to my studs. 6, some surrounding woodland has been left in fragments, while some is modern plantation. Have you ever tried to cover up your crow feet or eye bags? Perhaps your hair is not as grey as it was last week. Beauty products simply provide an imitation of the real thing. 7, several rogue trees have started growing in the peat bog. They need to be removed because they can drink 100 gallons of water every day. That's enough to fill 2 bathtubs. They will drink the bog dry. What's that? You need another tenner? This time for the arcade? Number 8. In some places, the bog depth is 8 meters. Scientists use a tool called an auger to extract long tubes of peat. It's basically a huge apple corer. These samples provide historical analysis, and if you look carefully, the remnants of stems and pollen grains will tell you that 10,000 years ago, it was women who gave birth. Thank you.
One of the things that intrigues me about drumsticks is they sell them in 3s, or sometimes. I only think, well, why? 2 hands. But of course, one is going to break before the other. And then you've got a spare. Anyway, I found myself accompanying. We were playing on a Mother's Day, so this is called Playing on Mother's Day. With certain things in mind. Each beat and the silences between shall resound this coming Sunday for all those mothers and their young beneath the play yard rubble. For all the mothers to be whose time was not to come for their unborn under maternity facility dust. Bounds might know, ask him for technical details, but there's a type of stick, they're called hot rods. They come in 2s, incidentally, but I got a pack of 3 pairs, each of a different color, each pair of a different color, all very symbolical and not very funny. Hot rods, they came in a 3-pair pack. Each stick a scaled down fuel rod, its bundled elements as if consisting in drum wheat, bound firmly together for a combined yet sensitive strike, attack on metallic crash cymbal and snare drum skin, man-made or natural. At first, the red set, most lads' favorite, kept the beat. The red, later gaining those associations, hopes, resonances. Recently, they've got to look very frayed, splay-footed, outworn, worn out, spent, resembling DIY splints, done on the hoof, care of their own triage. This Sunday coming, I am to play for mothers in general. For a gig like that, the one on drums could do with a fresh set of sticks, the spares. They came in 2 further primary colors. I left it to my hybrid kit to put their heads together, to choose who'd be on the percussionist's stool playing for all the mothers, and who'd, disappointed, be on the bench. They soon had it amicably sorted out. When I get back to them, it transpires cross-fertilization has been the order of the day, whereas there had been 1 spare pair of hot rod beaters, the color of cornflowers, and 1 spare pair, the color of further acres of cobs of another certain nourishing corn. I'll be playing this Sunday coming for all mothers, with my left palm closed on a beater of corn cob yellow, with my right palm closed on a beater of cornflower blue. To touch eye and ear, they'll appear, feel, be as perfectly balanced as true. And just in case, we have a piebald replica pair in the safe. Sticks on the Black Sea floor. If you threw drumsticks, even hot rods, into water, you'd expect them to float, I suppose. Sticks on the Black Sea floor, or the red and the blue and yellow of it. On the corn yellow floor to the cornflower blue Black Sea, a pair of red drumsticks lie, so hurtful, blood-soaked, they could not run, swim to save their lives. Skins. Unnatural, you'd think, but they did sink.
So in this international jet-setting poetry atmosphere and event, I just think that while it's being held in Copenhagen, we really ought to have some Danish represented. So what can you do but ask the resident Norwegian to deal with it? It's a very short poem, and I keep it with me always, so I don't have to read it from anywhere. It's short enough. In fact, I'll do it in Danish first, and then in Norwegian, so you can hear how similar those two languages are, and then in English at the end. And it's by a cherished poet, Danish poet, Don Cwrw. På Hawaii findes der en race af blå, umiskendeligt blå rejer. Det må være nok opmuntring for en dag. In Norwegian. På Hawaii findes der en race af blå, umiskendeligt blå reger. Det får være nok opmuntring for en dag. And finally in English. In Hawaii, there exists a race of blue, unmistakably blue shrimp. That should be encouragement enough for one day. Thank you.
I was discussing today that I don't usually ever read in my own gallery because I find it very egocentric-y. But then Dominic said that it's not just here where I am. I'm sharing with an international group and with friends in Wales who have shown plenty of support by wearing the shirt. So thank you so much. I feel so loved and happy. Before I read a couple of my poems, I want to say that we officially, like yesterday, we officially met very seriously and had hours of discussions and whiteboard notes and brainstorming and have established an alliance, conspiration type of gathering of publishers, of poets, of cultural organizers in the Nordic region and European affiliates. And it's called Red Thread, which is what appears as the name of the participants here today. And that's why they're visiting from all these different countries. So I feel very accomplished in the work that we did, very tired from the poetic life and the bohemia, because that's a very important part of it, and grateful to be sharing this event in the little Red Door Gallery that I feel so much larger and richer because of all your voices. 2 poems from the latest 2 books. I'm gonna read one that is very much a response to Elizabeth's poem on speaking to those ghosts of love, or the ghosts that we once loved and are no longer with us. Your will is our peace. Sometimes I wake up and there is nothing. No bundles of leaves and angst. No burning house, no temple open, no liquid acid spreading itself through the streets, no bills unpaid, no things unsaid, no waves coming nor going with your name. As a matter of fact, no name, and no spine and no bones and no warmth where you used to lay. No soft and kind intermissions from no long list of rage. No tremor and no need for pills and no rush to go or stay. In such days, I like to sit very still and enjoy the occasion. There's a beauty in this emptiness. It expands like a tender mist towards all corners of me, and it continues growing above the tallest trees until it covers everything in wide, shimmering light. It's in that place where I feel closest to you. I assume this is what it's like. A gentle moving on from the convulsions. A caress of infinity that sets us free. And this one very much in response to the commentary of identity and of the erasure of space that women and gender fluid people and transgender people have to deal with constantly. Also people when in grief and also people when in uncertainty, because for some fucking reason, others think that it's great to just poke the wound to see if they can fix it. And I know that there's another way for us as humans to interact. So that's getting on with it. Seagulls soar through the sky with ease. They know what to look for and where to find it. They let out a screech here and there. It paints the songs of the oceans with hints of comedy. Then they disappear in the horizon. What is left is the galloping sea waves, arriving and arriving, arriving and arriving, but never really here. People tend to have ideas. They have solutions for problems you haven't presented, urgencies and timelines to tighten the shoelaces all under the pretense of affection. People, they worry so much about things that don't concern them, always finding neat tricks for your salvation. People know no better than to intervene. It proves their godlikeness and ample hearts. I soar through the streets with ease. I know what to look for and where to find it. I let out a screech here or there. It stains the days with hints of sorrow. Then I get lost into the night. What is left is the sparkles of fire, arriving and arriving, arriving and arriving, arriving and arriving, but never really here. Thank you.